Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Chris. I've been kind of bored at home lately, so I figured I'd start making videos of stupid shit that I do. I don't know why. So, what this video is I build computers from time to time, just for myself and for a couple friends in the past. And in the past, I've never really taken photos of them or done videos of them or anything. Not that they're anything special. I'm not an expert at building computers or overclocking or anything like that. I just make very novice decisions. I had an existing case. It has a computer in it that runs really hot. And I was thinking of rebuilding it. Part of the heat problem is I'm running two ATI cards in Crossfire, and I don't know, just even idling, it's just really hot inside the case, and that's kind of because of the poor airflow design, or I should say outdated airflow design. I'm using a Lian Li case, all aluminum, removable motherboard tray, but it came out like 10 years ago. I've had the case for almost 10 years. So I was going to rebuild this PC, and I thought I would just make a video of portions of it, and because I'm bored. Okay, so this is the computer I'm going to be upgrading. This is the case. It's a Lian Li PC-65B, B for black. I believe there used to be other options. I got this case back in about 2006. As you'll quickly see, there's very little in terms of cooling airflow. You can see in the front there's basically two 80mm inlets in the bottom. There's 4 5¼ bays. I have an optical drive in there. I've got, right now, a fan speed controller and then a front audio and USB panel. But I'm not sure I'm going to keep any of those. In fact, I know I'm not going to keep the optical drive because of my plans. I like the PC-65B because it's, brushed aluminum black. It's got this great side window. You can see I haven't even cleaned it. This has been sitting on the floor. It's got this side window. It also has a removable motherboard tray, as you'll notice pretty quickly. What do I have in there right now? I have, what is it, an X58 motherboard with an i7 920. You can see I have non-matching RAM, just standard Intel stock cooler right now. And then dual 4870s in Crossfire. Now they're different brands of 4870. I think one of them is an MSI, and I forget what the other one even is. Now I'll spin this around really quick. So in the back you can see I'm running kind of an older TX750 power supply. You can see the removable motherboard tray outline. You can also see on the back here there's only one 80mm outlet. There's one 80mm outlet on the top here, which I'll show you, or you'll see otherwise in the video. So basically two 80mm inlets, two 80mm outlets. Not to mention, this top 80mm outlet is going to get blocked as soon as I put in the power supply I'm going to put in, which is a AX860i Corsair power supply. So what I'm going to have to be doing is, among other things, in the front of this case, I'm going to be taking 3 of the 5¼ bays, the lower 3 bays, and I'm going to be replacing them with a single mount for 120mm fan. I'm going to put in a silent or low decibel inlet fan, Noctua fan, which will be blowing air in from the front. I'm going to be doing a case mod by drilling vented ports in the top of the case for a dual radiator. That's for the H100i that I have. And it's probably going to run into the 80mm port you'll see on top. So that'll be a bunch of case modding on the front, or on the top, and changing out a mount on the front. Also, I'm considering another thing to look at here. On the back, you can see there's an 80mm port, and then there's this empty block of space. And I'm considering drilling into that and putting another 80mm fan there. here it is. Now I gotta take it apart first. Then we'll go from there. Here's the H100i GTX to try and line everything up. Let's see if the space even exists. Mils of space, like 158 to 180 something. So a little bit more than 20 mils maybe to get the cables in. I think I can do it. You guys have already seen the case come apart. I've also already mounted the power supply to make sure everything will fit. This is the top of the case. This is the front here. This is the back. Power supply is going to be back here. Like I said, this fan's not going to be in here because my cutouts and the 240 millimeter radiator is going to overlap with it. What you can see here is I laid out painter's tape, gaffer's tape, and started taking measurements. So what you can see here is I think I've finished the measurements. What I've done is, this is just for the mounting holes right now. I made sure the mounting holes were 105 millimeters apart all the way down, and I've got one set here, one set here, the next fan set here, and then the final set here. I made sure they're 105 millimeters apart, both in, across the case and down the case's length. I've also checked the diagonals to make sure that the holes are square, so I'm not making a parallelogram. I also individually took measurements from the edges of the case inwards to make sure that it's relatively centered on the case, and also from the front of the case to make sure it's far enough back on the underside that I'll be able to mount everything. Other than that, it's basically down to at least drilling the mounting holes. I'm using a Dremel. I'm going to try and drill the first 4 holes for the first fan mount. Make sure a fan will mount to it. Then do the second set, mount that, make sure everything mounts together okay. is pretty loud. Well, it seems to be working okay though. So I told you that the front of the case was going to have basically a special mount for a fan put in, and I'm not going to have any optical drive or anything. So this is it. I put it together from a few different pieces. What do we got here? So it's got a fan filter on the front, which I bought from, I think, Amazon for like $5. It's got this Mountain Mods 3 by 5 1/4 bay mount, which actually is the wrong type. This one is like, forget what the style is, but it's not a brushed aluminum look, it's a different style, which won't match my case exactly, but they didn't have the brushed aluminum when I was ordering, so, and I didn't know when they were gonna come back in, so I got this one. If I ever wanna change it, it'll take me like 5 minutes. And then, you know, I have a Noctua Redux fan. Which one is it? It's a Noctua NF-S12B, so this is not a high static pressure fan. What I'm finding is the Noctua Redux fans, they're similar to the normal Noctua fans, but I'll show you a little bit of the difference here. The normal Noctua fans have these rubber mounts on the edges, and they extend out from the body such that when they mount to something, the rubber's in contact and you get less vibration translating to the case. This and all the Redux fans that I got, they don't have those. You can see it's just plastic. So what I did is I bought 120 millimeter rubber grommets, basically. I'll show you what that is. Mounts in with the screw holes. So I have one of these bolted in with this fan underneath. Of course you can't see it because of the way it's mounted, but I have it mounted in here with some steel 18/8 screws and nuts that I got off of McMaster-Carr. Okay guys, so I've done a few things off camera because they've been really boring. So for example, like you saw earlier, the 4 holes for each mounting fan and for the 240 millimeter cooler are all drilled and mostly positioned right. There's this one I had to elongate a little bit, but the elongation is going to get covered up anyway. But all the others are drilled, and what I actually did is ream them out more with a round file, so that way a screw of the appropriate size will slide into each of the holes without having to thread. Previously I had to thread them in, which I didn't want, so now they'll freely engage in all of the holes, no problem. Another thing that I've done here is I showed you this previously for the front case. It wouldn't mount because the Lian Li case has horizontal mounting flats, so anything mounting in the front of the case, like a DVD drive or whatever, can sit on it, and that gets in the way of this, the side of this. So what I did is take some tin snips, snipped slots out of this so it'll mount correctly on both sides, but it installs no problem. The slots are hidden when it's installed, and It's really just a functional thing, so I didn't do detailed measurements or anything. So what I'm doing now is trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to drill out the actual ventilation holes, because I don't want to just, if I can avoid it, don't want to just cut a big hole in two places. So first off, I should say that I'm not touching anything back here where the 80mm mount is, which makes me lose some cooling surface area on the back fan, but I still get some from here. I'm going to lose a little bit. I'm going to get probably a third of the space the way I'm planning on drilling the hole or holes, and then I'm going to try and get as much of this as I can. Now what I've done is drawn center line of the case and some perpendiculars, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to drill slots. I'm not going to be able probably to drill slots similar to what's already in there. Well, okay, so after failing miserably trying to cut straight lines to match this, you can see the remnants here. I basically gave up and just cut out squares or rectangles using a grinding wheel. I would have preferred not to have to do it, but that's what I did. So it's just rough cut right now, and I'm probably going to try to do handwork to or a grinding wheel on the cutting machine to try and clean up the lines. Okay, so went outside and did some more dremeling, this time with a grinding wheel, and I cleaned up the edges, so it actually looks pretty good. I mean, they aren't exactly straight, but they're pretty good. And I'm going to be just doing some handwork in the corners. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much good to go. I mean, these are basically going to be covered up like this. I don't think it's a huge deal if they're exactly right. I think it looks pretty good like that, so it's getting you better than 80mm. Not quite 120, but I don't want to push it. I wanted to try and like leave some margin, especially for the strength of the top panels, and just not make for the amount of weight that it's carrying or will be carrying. Definitely mount another fan there. Yep, definitely. Just gotta take out that metal plate, basically. Which also probably gonna affect the rigidity of it, but definitely do it. I might have to go in that direction. That means is more drilling. Just what I want. be my X16 slot. This is going to be my X4 down here. So this is going to be my graphics card. This is going to be the hard drive, the NVMe drive. Ooh, graphics card. This thing is heavy. Jesus. I didn't know 8 gigs of RAM weighed that much. And so for some reason it looks like, I don't know what it is, it's not the motherboard. I mean, the graphics card definitely seems like it's got some twist to it. I think it would probably be fine. So I'm putting together the case, and I'm having some problems with these bottom panel connectors at the bottom of the motherboard. You see, I put my MSI graphics card in the top X16 slot, which is what the motherboard manual tells you to do, basically, if you have one graphics card. Then I put my NVMe drive in the bottom X16 slot because it really runs at X4 and is shared with the M.2 connector, which is what I want. The problem is down here, because I'm using Corsair stuff, I have to use the USB 2.0 connectors, and the USB 2.0 connectors are right up against the NVMe drive, like right there, plugged in. I don't like that. I don't think I need to use any more of these ports. Even so, I don't really like it, so. Okay guys, I got the computer case set up. I've got a monitor, keyboard and mouse, and now we're going to try and turn it on. Okay, so it's booting. Now that I have all the fans plugged in, I've got 2 fans running in the back. I don't know if you can tell that, but both of those fans are running. Feel the air.
Okay, so since you guys last saw it, I put the case together, got most of the cable management done. It had gotten to the point where I had everything connected so I could actually boot the PC, and I was able to boot it, and I've been spending, that was yesterday actually, and today I've been working to basically get the operating system online and drivers and stuff like that, and then just make sure all the Corsair Link stuff is working. So the wire cable management hasn't changed really since then. Back to the case, basically I'm using Corsair software, so I've got the main lights pulsing between like a light red, dark red, and white. The MSI graphics card has a white light on it that you can turn on and off and pulse it and stuff like that using software they have. I haven't done anything with the Corsair logo on the main thing, but basically all there's left to do, I have to clean the glass panel because it's clouded right now, but clean that. I actually have to adhere the lighting. I just have the lighting laid out in there. I was playing around with it to see which way I liked it. This seems to work. And then I have to clean up some more wiring, more cable management. And then that's pretty much it. So yeah, it took me a long time to put this case together and buy everything. It's October, middle of October now. I started buying parts for it back in August because I started seeing them on sale. I bought the stuff that wouldn't really change in price first. Like I bought the power supply when it was on sale first, and I bought the H100 IGTX because I didn't think that would go down in price. And I bought the fans and all the fan mounting equipment. And I waited to buy all the other stuff because in early August, none of the Z170 stuff was available. So when it did become available, the 6700K took a while. It took more than a month before I could actually get one, and I had to get it as part of a combo with my motherboard. But once that was available, I bought everything else, and that's when I started modifying the case and stuff. But that was already, end of September by the time I had everything here. So I've really been kind of putting this together for a few weeks now. At first I was skittish about cutting into the case, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to do it, and then I finally had to kind of make the dive in and just do it. So once I started actually cutting the case, it went a lot faster. I cut the case a couple weeks ago and cleaned it up, and finally everything's in there. I had a couple delays. I was out of town last weekend. But yeah, so the case is together and I'm happy about it. Looks like everything seems to be operating fine. I'm happy how it went together. I'll probably show some other better images of this once I've got it cleaned up and the cables are wrapped up and I've done some more cable management. But I just wanted to do this with low lighting so you guys can see what the pulse lighting looks like.
In conclusion, I really like the way this build turned out. I really like the red color scheme. It's the first red build that I've done. The red, black, gray, and white color scheme looks really great in this case. And it seems to be overclocking fine, no problems. I've been playing some Fallout with it since Fallout 4 just came out, and it's working really well. For those of you who watched the video this far, I hope you liked it, and maybe I'll have some more videos in the future. Thanks.